Hi, cybersecurity professionals. Thank you for staying tuned with this channel. Now, we've come to the next week of our sharing. And if you're into data privacy and have not watched the previous video on data privacy, I would suggest you watch the video first. This will allow you to have a clear picture of the whole topic, and you'll be able to follow the teachings and the lessons. Do remember, our sharing and all the paperwork will be to gear and train everyone to be a cybersecurity professional. For our week 2 sharing, we will find out what a project manager should know about data privacy. This will be the main objective and the mission project manager will need to focus on to get and keep within the objective of data privacy. And also, we will find out the top 5 security concerns anyone should know. The top 5 security concerns will allow you to have a clearer picture of this situation in data privacy. Previously, we have already identified and understand the impact it has on an individual. And now, I'll give you a bonus. And we'll focus on the impact it has on a company. Do take note that this is a bonus content. As an individual, the reputation damage will be there for the company as well. People will start to question the individual and how the individual is being trained by the company. In Singapore, if company data is being leaked out, they'll be fined by the Data Privacy Commissions. And right now, a DPO, Data Protection Officer, must be assigned to all Singapore companies. The DPO will be faced with questioning and need to bear the consequences. There will be fine and due terms as well. The company name will be published online as well. The reason to publish this company online is to shame the company and also use them to educate other companies, as this will be the case study. So it's pretty serious over here. The damage to the company's reputation will affect the confidence of the stakeholder. Stakeholders will panic and would like to know the reason behind such leakage of information. They will start to gather information and question top management. A lot of times and effort will be needed to investigate the incident and might result in a lot of work to be carried out to manage the incident. When stakeholders lose their confidence with the top management team, they will either pull away or pull out from the company or change the leadership team. And many times, when stakeholder leaves the company, it will be tougher for the company to gain support from other stakeholders and result in cash flow issue. When the company is in the news, you'll catch the attention of the media. When I mention media, I'm not just referring to your daily news on TV or on the paper. There are also industry social medias, magazine, and forum targets just for the industry only. Having such prolonged negative media attention will result in your competitors using it to target you and trying to win some customers. They will also start to headhunt your company staff and making sure you are being hit as well. So, as a project manager, it is very important to ensure the data privacy of your company or the projects you are holding on is safe and sound. Now, we will take a look at another financial issue. When there's a data privacy breach, the company will need to spend money to investigate the breach. Spending money is one thing. They still need to pay the fine by the authority. The damage caused to the person whose data is leaked out, or the staff whose data is being leaked out. After settling all this, they will need to take out the budgets to implement a solutions to fix the breach. If they are on a risk transfer strategy, there will be cyber insurance to protect the data. But if there's a breach and company is thinking of carry out a risk transfer strategy, the cost for the insurance will be higher and lesser insurance company will express interest to offer their insurance premium to these companies. This will result in more steps to be carried out by the company and require more planning and understanding of the situation. Productivity will also decrease over time, and insignificant resource will be spent as well. For any project director or project manager, what is needed is an environment where protecting employees and clients' privacy is top of the mind for every new projects or programs. And also to look out for significant changes to an existing business or IT program. And every employee, whenever handling personal information, it's not the duty of the project director or project manager to ensure that everybody involved in the project is trained in handling data privacy. But they must remind the personnel involved about data privacy and always ensure data privacy is closely kept track of. If anyone is doing anything that will harm the project delivery, the project manager must come in and redirect to project success. For them to do that, they need to have the knowledge and know-how to ensure the total success of the projects and to balance between data privacy. In the later part of this discussion, I'll give you a little bonus and share how making data privacy and cybersecurity in place will be able to create profit for your projects and the company. So do look out for the bonus. As a principal consultant, I work with numerous MNC, multinational companies, project teams, and all of them agreed that without having a basic understanding of cybersecurity and data privacy will result in issues that they will have to deal with and sometimes will result in project loss. For example, I work with a project director, assuming the vendor quotations covers all aspects of the customer's cybersecurity requirements. But the vendor missed out on a few of the requirements. Once the project is awarded, there's no way to go back to the customers and negotiate for a higher budget. In the end, the project went into a negative revenue for the project director's company, and their vendors have to help LD, liable damage, for missing the timeline and the requirements. In the end, the project director was asked to leave as the company project was not managed properly. There are 5 areas on security which the IT project manager need to assess and take note when they are dealing with IT projects or any other kind of projects. The 5 areas are very important and the other G's for today's sharing. First, privacy. Second, compliance. Third, application security. Fourth, network and system security. And finally, physical security. When conducting customer support, it is important to know that your vendor has strict policies on how to verify your identity and help you access your account, as well as how and when they can access your data. It is always good to ask vendors to share their policies around escalations, management, knowledge sharing, risk management, and day-to-day operations. These have strict policies in place to limit access to customer data to employees with job-related needs. The weakness of the chain is always a human being. Even if your team is well trained, you do not want to bear the responsibility of being held ransom if the weakest link is from the customer's end. So towards your vendor, their policy should also allow you to dictate when and how they see your data. If you find their basic policy do not match your cybersecurity requirements for sensitive information, also highlight to them. Or have a written policy guiding your projects. The project manager's main focus is to manage the projects. Setting the policy at the start of the projects will ensure the project manager will be covered and allow the project manager to focus on the projects and to meet the timeline. There are security compliance standards that companies and vendors should adhere and look into. These include ISO 27001 standards. Today, we are focusing on ISO 27001 because it's a cybersecurity related standards. And ISO 27001 certifications demonstrates that the vendor has complete cybersecurity framework and a risk-based approach to managing information security. ISO 27001 is the only internationally recognized standards for the establishments and certifications of an information security management system. In short, they call it the ISMS. Always check that the project you're handling does not require such standards. If the project does cover these certifications, you need to be on a higher alert. It implies that your company is already holding on to these certifications and prove to have knowledge on standards before they take out this project. So you have to fulfill and uphold these standards as well. Application security. An IT project manager needs to manage a lot of applications. These include human resource applications like your team leaves and schedule, and also project management software. A lot of time when you are dealing with an external project, you might need to use their project management software to keep track of your project timeline. Having the understanding and ability to share the best practices for this application software will add value to your presence anywhere. Application security comprises all the features between the applications that help ensure your project data stays safe. These features fall into 5 categories: user authentications, data sharing and role-based access control, monitoring users' activities, project management software data encryptions, and lastly, mobile applications. User authentications. Your chosen project's management software should support multi-methods of authentications, including Google OpenID, Azure, Office 365, ADFS, SSO, and SAML2. This process enables employees to securely access your software without having to use a second separate login and password. Other authentication features to look for are customizable password security settings and two-step verifications. Between the password settings of your project management software, you should be able to customize the following. First, password strength setting, such as maximum and minimum password length. Not knowing and not allowing password to include the user's first or last name. the number and type of characters to be used. Second, set an expiry date for your password, indicating how often users need to change their passwords. The best will be to change every month, but industrial best practice will be every 3 months or a quarter. Lastly, password history settings to indicate how often a user can reuse the same password after they make a change, or the same password cannot be used anymore. Two-step verifications, also called two-factor authentications or 2FA, provides an additional layer of security to the sign-in process. In addition to a username and password, you have to enter a time-sensitive verification code to gain access. If some of your teammates are using applications that do not natively support two-step verifications, make sure your software supports using one-time passwords instead. Otherwise, those users will find themselves being locked out. Your project management software should also allow you to use network access policy settings to add IP or approve IP addresses and IP subnets for additional application security. With this feature enabled, users can only log in and access your software from those locations. If you're a remote user, make sure you select a tool that allows them for mobile users and other platforms to log in and access from any IP address. As an IP project manager, you will need to be familiar with all these terms. Next, we look at data sharing and role-based access control. Data sharing and role-based access identify who can access what data between project management software. A project administrator should be able to assign different roles and permissions level to each user to control what they can read or edit. These functions allows you to set up selective sharing between the software. These abilities ensures that sensitive information can only be accessible by those who need it, and not everyone who has software access. You can also offer guest reviewer capabilities that allow external stakeholders to provide feedbacks and approval. The benefit of this is that feedbacks on client submissions can be provided directly on the documents, while you maintain control of third-party permissions. Another data sharing security function is invitation settings. Invitation settings allows you to control who can invite new users to use the software. You can also limit who can send an invite. For instance, you can request that invites have a specific email domain. Plus, you can determine what kind of license users can grant when they invite someone. Okay, now we'll be talking about monitoring users' activities and also reporting. Even with user authentications and restricted data sharings, it's also important that you can monitor what is occurring between the software regularly. Look for project management software that provides full reporting functions with up-to-date accounts activities information, including authentications events, changes in authorizations and access controls, share folders and tasks, and other security activities. Access reports enable you to see which users have access to folders, projects, and tasks. They can also show you any tasks with attachments that external guest users have been invited to review. Now we will come to project management software data encryptions. Your project management software should use minimum encryptions or transport layer TLS 1.2 with a preferred AES 256-bit logarithm. Wow, this sounds complex. All it means that when you access your data via a web browser, mobile applications, email add-in, or browser extensions, the TLS technology protects your information using both server authentications and data encryption technology. This level of encryption is equivalent to network security methods used in banking and leading e-commerce sites. All users' passwords, cookies, and sensitive information are protected from electronics eavesdropping. User files uploaded to servers both by web applications and API are automatically encrypted with AES 256 using pre-var keys. The encryption keys should be stored by a vendor in a secure key vault, which is a separate database decoupled from the file storage layer. With these encryptions, even if someone were to gain physical access to the file storage, your data will be impossible to read. Finally, will be mobile applications. It's important to have mobile access to your project management software so that your team can access it no matter where they are. However, mobile applications come with security concerns. Any mobile applications should have all the security functionalities built into your project management software, such as password and data sharing restrictions. Plus, mobile applications need additional security functions, such as encryptions at rest, certificate pinning, checking against root jailbreak devices, and application layer protection using a PIN code or fingerprint. Now, we'll talk about network and system security. Network protection procedures such as network segregations using VLANs, firewall and router technologies, intrusion detections and prevention systems, centralized log aggregations and alert mechanisms should be standards for your software provider. All these systems should be monitored by dedicated and experienced security teams. You also want a project management software provider that ensure security connectivity, including secure channels and multi-factor authentication, schemes for systems operations group personnel. These precautions allows your provider to prevent, detect, and promptly re-mitigate the impact of some network attacks if they do occur. Look for software that has a documented process of regular updates and patch management. You should also ask how frequently the vendor performs internal network security audits, so they can easily spot and fix any dangers or vulnerabilities. When it comes to data security, a quick and proven response is the difference between danger and disaster. Uptime is a time during which a computer is operational, meaning that no key functions are unavailable, and is one of the many useful ways to assess a provider infrastructure security. Uptime means a company is stable, secure, and experienced in delivering of customer-facing services. Ask what the vendor uptime is to determine their security, reliability, and look for ones with a historical proven records of 99.9% uptime or higher. Finally, we have come to physical security. Physical security encompasses where and how your data is stored. Different states and countries have very specific data security compliance laws. If you are operating in the different states, locations, or countries, than the one storing your data. The security laws where you store your data might not align with your needs or requirements and legal commitments to your customers. It is important to ask where the project management software company stores its data and make sure the security standards at the storage facilities are up to date and independently verified. You should also ask about the physical security of the facilities. For instance, do they have 24/7 man security, power backup systems, physical access controls, smoke and fire alarms, and any digital surveillance systems in place? Another aspect of physical security is how often your data is backed up. If a server crashes or a breach occurs, you want to know your data won't be lost. Look for project management software vendors that provides near real-time replications. These features will enable and ensure your data is backed up and available on redundant sites and servers. A full backup should be performed daily, and that the data should be stored encrypted in an environment physically separated from the primary servers to ensure fault tolerance. Do all these measures sound tough to you? Unfortunately, as an IT project manager, you will need to gear yourself up with this knowledge to better perform your job and excel in it. Thank you for your time and interest in finding out and the support to find out more about data privacy. The eagerness to learn and gear oneself up to be a professional may be tiring at the start. But do not give up and keep the determination going. You will be able to reach there one fine day. If you still find any missing gaps or need to recap your understanding to review the topics, do so by replaying the video. I'll see you soon in the next sharing.